On October 24th, 2020, Jack Ma stood before hundreds of China's most powerful bankers and financial regulators in Shanghai. He was about to give a speech that would cost him everything.
中国金融基本上没有系统。
Within weeks, the richest man in China would vanish from public view for over 2 months. His company's record-breaking IPO would be canceled, and the entire Chinese tech industry would face a crackdown worth over $1 trillion in lost value. This is the story of what happens when even the most successful entrepreneur in China crosses a line the government won't tolerate. In case you don't know much about Jack Ma, let's know about him. Jack Ma wasn't born into wealth or power. In 1964, he grew up in Hangzhou during China's Cultural Revolution, when his family struggled financially like millions of others. His father worked in traditional music and photography, his mother in a factory. Ma failed his college entrance exam twice before getting in on the 3rd try. After graduation, he applied for job after job and got rejected by over a dozen employers, including KFC. He eventually became an English teacher, earning just $12 a month. But Ma had a different way of learning English that would change his life. He offered free tours to foreign tourists visiting Hangzhou's West Lake in exchange for English lessons. This gave him something most Chinese people didn't have at the time: direct exposure to Western thinking and global perspectives. In 1999, Ma gathered 17 friends in his small apartment in Hangzhou. Together, they pooled $60,000 and founded Alibaba Group. The idea was simple: create an online marketplace to help small Chinese businesses sell their products to the world. The timing was perfect. China was opening up to the internet, and Ma understood that millions of small entrepreneurs needed a way to reach global customers. Alibaba started as a business-to-business platform, then expanded with Taobao for consumers and Tmall for retailers. By 2014, Alibaba went public on the New York Stock Exchange in the largest IPO in history at that time, raising $25 billion. The company was valued at $231 billion, and Ma became the richest person in China with a net worth of about $25 billion. But Ma's real vision went beyond e-commerce. He created Ant Group, a financial technology company that started with Alipay, China's dominant mobile payment system. Ant Group grew to handle everything from payments to loans to insurance for hundreds of millions of Chinese consumers. By 2020, it was valued at over $300 billion and preparing for what would be the world's largest IPO ever. That's when Jack Ma made his fatal mistake. On October 24th, 2020, Ma spoke at the Bund Finance Summit in Shanghai. The audience included Zhou Xiaochuan, former governor of the People's Bank of China, and Yi Gang, the current governor. These were some of the most powerful financial regulators in the country. Ma didn't hold back. He questioned whether international banking regulations called the Basel Accords were right for China. He said Europe needed these rules to fix their old, complex banking systems, but China's financial industry was still young and didn't need the same constraints. Then he went further. Ma compared traditional Chinese banks to pawn shops, saying they had an outdated mentality focused on collateral and guarantees instead of innovation. He said, "Today's banks continue to have a pawnshop mentality. Collaterals and warranties are pawn shops. The concept of pawn shops is the most serious in China." But his most dangerous comments targeted the regulators themselves. Ma complained there were too many rules that prevented innovation and not enough policies that supported it. He said, "Today, there are too many documents that don't allow you to do something but too few supportive policies coming out." He argued that trying to minimize risk to zero would actually create the biggest risk of all, that the economy wouldn't develop. At first, Chinese social media loved it. The hashtag Jack Ma dares say it started trending. People praised his boldness in speaking truth to power about problems everyone could see but no one dared mention. But behind closed doors, senior financial officials saw Ma's speech as a direct insult. According to reports, they viewed it as a punch in their faces. The speech reached the attention of President Xi Jinping himself. The response was swift and devastating. On November 2nd, just 9 days after the speech, Ma and senior executives from Ant Group were summoned to a meeting with Chinese financial regulators. The next day, November 3rd, the Shanghai Stock Exchange announced that Ant Group's IPO was suspended. They cited significant issues such as the changes in financial technology regulatory environment that meant the company no longer met the conditions for listing. This wasn't just any IPO being canceled. Ant Group's offering was set to raise $37 billion, making it the largest IPO in world history. The company had attracted at least $3 trillion in orders from individual investors for its dual listing in Hong Kong and Shanghai. In one day, $300 billion in value simply disappeared. But the government wasn't done. In December 2020, Chinese regulators launched a comprehensive antitrust investigation into Alibaba. In April 2021, they hit the company with a record-breaking fine of $2.8 billion for abusing its dominant market position. New regulations targeted Ant Group's core business model. Stricter microlending rules threatened the company's ability to make the small loans that had become a major source of revenue. And then Jack Ma vanished. Ma's last confirmed public appearance was on October 31, 2020, at an event for China's Double 11 shopping festival. After the regulatory meetings in early November, he completely disappeared from public view. The first sign something was wrong came when Ma failed to appear in the final episode of Africa's Business Heroes, a television program he had created for his own foundation. Ma was supposed to be a judge, but he was replaced by Alibaba co-founder Lucy Peng. His picture was removed from the judging web page. An Alibaba spokesperson said it was just a schedule conflict, but people weren't buying it. Ma had also stopped tweeting. His last tweet was on October 10, 2020. For someone who had been one of the most visible business leaders in the world, this silence was deafening. International media began asking questions.
I am curious, David, on your stuff on Ma, because he is in fact missing.
The Chinese government said nothing. For over 2 months, one of the world's most famous entrepreneurs had simply disappeared. On January 20th, 2021, Ma finally reappeared. He showed up in a 50-second video message to rural teachers as part of his foundation's annual Rural Teacher Initiative. In the video, Ma spoke from a room with gray marble walls, though his location wasn't disclosed. His message was carefully focused on education and philanthropy, not business. He told the teachers, "We cannot meet in Sanya due to the epidemic. When the epidemic is over, we must find time to make up for everyone's trip to Sanya, and then we will meet again." Even this brief appearance had immediate impact. Alibaba's stock surged 7% in Hong Kong trading, and Ma's personal wealth increased by nearly $2 billion in a single day. But Ma's reappearance didn't mean things were back to normal. The Chinese government had used his disappearance to send a clear message about the limits of power in China. The incident triggered what became known as the tech crackdown. In 2021, Chinese regulators issued new anti-monopoly guidelines for the platform economy, targeting practices commonly used by tech companies like algorithm price discrimination and exclusive dealing arrangements. The financial impact was staggering. Within 1 year of Ma's October 2020 speech, Alibaba lost $344 billion in market capitalization, the biggest wipeout of shareholder value globally that year. By 2024, Alibaba's market value had fallen to $200 billion, nearly 80% less than its peak. Ant Group's valuation collapsed from over $300 billion to approximately $78 billion by 2023. But it wasn't just Alibaba and Ant Group. Chinese technology companies collectively lost more than $1.1 trillion in market value. Share prices of major companies including Tencent, Meituan, Baidu, and JD.com plunged between 40% and 71%. After his reappearance, Ma kept a deliberately low profile. In January 2023, Ma made a significant move. He ceded controlling rights to Ant Group, ensuring that no single shareholder would have controlling vote over the company. This was widely seen as a signal that the regulatory crackdown was nearing an end. As of 2025, Ma maintains no executive role at Alibaba and is not on the company's board, though he remains a major shareholder with a 3.7% stake. The Jack Ma episode fundamentally changed how the world views business in China. If you found this video interesting, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more videos like this.